Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your hostess, Kayla Cordero, and welcome to the Vow to Be Fierce podcast. This space is for everyone on their own journey of becoming more of themselves and returning to your own truth, whatever that may look like for you. And I say hostess because I updated my my Instagram bio yesterday, and because I've been thinking a lot about identity, and I definitely want to create a podcast episode about that. But today I'm going to talk to you about something else that was on my heart. It's so funny because these inklings that I get always come at like during inconvenient times. And I say inconvenient because either getting Zoe ready for school, or I'm working on a different project, or I'm doing something, and these inklings just come on my heart. And I'm like, oh, I need to write this down. I need to share it with my people because it's so good. It's so good. And like, I say it's so good because it helps me big time. These inklings are usually like little aha moments, like a light bulb moment. And light bulbs have been very symbolic for me lately. Yeah, I don't know who I don't know who this is for, but if you've been seeing a lot of light bulbs, or if there's I know it sounds weird, but anyway, yeah, this episode is for you. This episode is for the person who believes in themselves but hasn't made progress or taken action towards really um towards the things that make your heart smile, towards the joy, towards taking care of yourself. This episode is for you if you are a person that keeps putting yourself on the back burner, keeps putting your dreams on the back burner. You have ideas flowing in your mind, in your heart, that you be daydreaming about, and it takes so much of your time and you don't even realize it. That's meditation. When you're focusing on a thought over and over and over again. And yet you whisk it away. You're like, okay, yeah, I will get to that. Or you may think that it's something that isn't a necessity. But I have news for you. If you have this something on your heart for so long, it's important to you. Okay? It's important to you. So listen up. Start listening to your own inklings. Okay? And if you're here, maybe this will help. I don't know, but I hope it does because I really do believe in you. I think that we all have different visions for our lives and they are all valid. And we deserve to fulfill whatever that looks like for us. Even if the dream is just becoming the best parent, or even if the dream is being courageous enough to stand up for yourself and to finally speak up and, share the things that you actually really believe in. Even if the thing is, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. If it's going for that job that you think that you're not ready for, but you know it in your soul, okay? You know it. And maybe you're afraid of the work that it takes to get something, or maybe you're afraid of actually being really good at whatever it is that you want. And it's like, ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, okay. This episode is for you if you doubt your abilities, if you doubt your voice, your medicine, if you question, if you have an internal battle with yourself saying like, I know this is right, I know this feels right, and yet you don't take action towards it, and yet you keep making excuses for yourself. I get it, life be lifing, all that jazz, okay? But let me tell you how we are closing out 2025 on a fierce note. And fierce is not loud. Fierce is actually the quiet power within you that you tap into to create the life that you really want to create. That's it. Fierce is showing up for yourself over and over and over again. And so, okay, I want to share a little story. Um, oh gosh, if he ever listens to this, shout out to you. I am so grateful for my past connections. Um, and this is a person that I've had a relationship with on and off for years, okay, for a really long time. And it's one of my most significant because it has taught me so much about my life. I mean, so much about myself, so much about myself, so much about people. Um, and I truly am so grateful. And yet, this is one of the most painful relationships that I've had because, as we know, relationships are mirrors of ourselves. Okay. I really believe this, and not always mirrors of ourselves because some people are just assholes. Oh, I never curse here. Okay. Do I? I don't know. Pero, well, I barely curse ever. But, anyway, so what I want to share is this. This morning, I was thinking about how grateful I am for the challenges that I have experienced in my life, for the shitty storms. I say shitty because it's like, yo, nobody wants to be in a storm, okay? But what happens after a storm? What happens? You make it. You're still there. And it's like, ooh, okay. So I have my little notes here. You know how we do. I don't even look at them because I just be going off somewhere else. But I am grateful for the storms, for the battles that I fought, because without them, I wouldn't have learned how strong I am. I wouldn't have learned how beautiful my heart is, and like my capacity to love would never have been stretched. I wouldn't have remembered how potent my medicine truly is. Like seriously. Because if you're a person that doubts whatever it is, your abilities, da, 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 I have been on this internal journey for so long about like doubting my own truth, okay? And I don't want to get into the why because there's so many reasons, so many layers, but that's not even important anymore. What's important is that that's how I was operating. Okay. And that is no longer what I resonate with. And so now it's about creating space for my own truth, for my own power to come through. And that is ain't easy. Okay. Even when you're doing good and when you're like doing whatever it is that I've been talking about routines and rituals and things that putting things into place that actually care for my well-being. Even when you do all of that, it's still hard. It's still hard. But so what? So what? I'd rather be doing this and like trying to figure out my life and what works for me and fighting for myself, fighting for my own liberation, than the fear, than staying stuck, than operating the way I had for so long, because that doesn't honor me. That doesn't honor the creator. I come from love. I came here with a purpose. That's what I know to be true. And what happens in between is up to me because I can I can take the resources, I can go forward, or I can just sit here and overanalyze and stay in the dream phase. Like dreams are beautiful, dreams are important because that's the seed. But then what happens next? Are you still dreaming? Are you just going to continue going on and on about what you think you want to create in your world? No, we need to move forward and we need to talk about progress because that's what we're here today. Progress and practice. Okay, so let me tell you about the story because you know how I be. So, another thing about relationships for me that I believe, I really do believe they're teachers because they're meant to signal to us some things that maybe we hadn't seen before, or maybe things that we need to work on, or maybe things that for you to be like, nah, I don't want this. This is definitely what I do not want, and keep it going. Or maybe I want a little bit more of this, but maybe it's not in this relationship, right? So they're teachers. They're always, I choose to take my relationships as teachers, all of them. Now, rewind to about 10 years ago. This person that I was that I've known for, oh my goodness, for a really long time. It's probably close to 20 years now. I don't even know. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that this is a person that we would go back and forth. And I really do believe we were just like meant to be in each other's lives to show us the things. Okay. And um let's not get it twisted though. It was very unhealthy, our back and forth business. It was like we were fighting each other, but really fighting ourselves. It's very interesting. And as I get older, I have even more clarity on a lot of my relationships and like the dynamics and all of this stuff. And you also have to not focus on what the other person was doing, but focus on you. How were you showing up? What were you allowing? How did you contribute to this chaos? Or this blah blah, whatever it is. Okay, so I just need to put all that out there. So we were going back and forth one time, and the thing is that when we were in it, we were in it. Like when I say battle, I mean the thing that we were really good at is hurting each other with our words because we knew exactly what to say. Because when you really care about someone, when you have get to know someone on a deep level, you get to know what lights them up, you get to know what hurts them, you get to know all the ins and outs, the guts of you. Okay. And because this person knew me for so long, they have seen me in so many different lights and so many different eras. That is me and my evolution. They have seen me at my lowest, at my most cringeworthy. They have seen me at my highest and striving for all that I want. They have seen me all through all the things, okay? And me with them as well. And so I even forgot what the whole discussion argument was about. I forgot. But he said this one thing to me that stuck with me for so long. And look, this is over 10 years ago, and I'm talking about it now. But I'm talking about it now from a space of not a wounded space, from a space of like, oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, of gratitude, because it actually taught me so much. And if you hear me and what this person said to me, you're going to be like, what? And like, oh hell no, and like what, and then I wouldn't let anybody talk to me like that, or blah blah blah, blah. Whatever it is, I ask you to listen to the lesson. So he told me, we were in it, and he knew this was around the time that I had already went to life coach school. I was like building my business. I was really getting comfortable with like speaking up more and being in my expression of teaching and also learning. I was working with a mentor at that time who she was so fantabulous. Like, we're not connected anymore, but I will always, always appreciate her. And I had a lot of people that have always believed in me. That's never been my issue. My issue is always believing in myself, and not only believing in myself, because I've always believed in myself, right? Pero I allowed other things from the outside to dictate my actions. And this is why I'm sharing this with you in case it helps. he was like, how could you? And it's so funny because I used to remember word for word. This is how it's so like when you're healing from a lot of things, you start to forget certain things because not because you forgot about it because it's less meaningful, but because you've outgrown it and you've already learned what you needed to learn. Sometimes you need to take what resonates and leave the rest, okay? You don't need to keep harping on something, especially if it's not to your up leveling. So I wrote it here too. It's either he said, who are you to, or how can you? So basically, how can you help anybody else? How can you help anyone when you yourself are a mess? When someone you really, really care about and have grown to love tells you something about yourself like that, yo, I wasn't even devastated in the moment um, because I was so used to us hurting each other. But that really bothered me. Who are you to help someone else when you're a mess yourself? How can you help anyone when you're a mess yourself? Like what, yo? I replayed that over and over in my head, and I think that was the time in that day. I mean, on that day, I think that's when I ended it. Um, you know, like I said, we've known each other for so long and it's been this on and off, back and forth thing. But that was one of the times. And I was like, oh, hell no. You could tell me all the things. You could tell me about myself, blah, blah, blah. To to touch on my purpose that I've always known for like to be true for me. No, that was like when I wanted to whip out the swords, and I'm pretty sure I spouted back some other shit that like probably hurt him too. I know it because when I go on the battlefield and I feel like I need to defend myself, yes, I get crazy, okay? And and a lot of people don't see that because I don't really engage in battles like that. A lot of my battles are more internal. But um I have also battled with very close relationships of mine throughout the years, all types of relationships, not only romantic. And that's where I learn a lot. And that's where I'm like, ooh, why did I show up like that? Oh, okay. Or like, ooh, I need to get away from this person because that's not, no, this is not good. This is not healthy. But so the reason why I got so angry too, I was so mad, not even at him. He was clearly mirroring back to me something that he saw within me, something that I saw within myself. And that's why it bothered me so much. Because, yes, even though it was someone that I cared about, I know that, like, logically, I know that words are said out of hurt sometimes. And so some have merit and some don't. Some are just like, okay, that's just your thing and you're whatever, like, moving on. But the reason why that stuck with me was because I had to dig deeper and I'm like, why is this bothering me so much? It's because on some level, I believe that. And I carried that belief for a while, long before he even mentioned that. And that's why I was so slow in taking action towards my dreams of helping people and being of service in whatever way, whether it was through coaching, through teaching a workshop, through the podcast, through whatever way. And this is not something that I just realized now. This is something that I've realized through the years, and it's now that I'm very clear that I can share this because it's been so helpful for me to dig into. And I share this because if you are ever in a conversation with someone, you can have a conversation with somebody on the streets, they don't know you. So it's like, yo, keep it moving. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Okay, bye. But if you're talking to somebody that knows you and something is triggered within you where it feels like, I want you to ask yourself, are you mad at them because of what they said and how they talk to you? Because sometimes, most of the time, either way, it's not. it's not right for people to disrespect, right? So you have to also know, and I don't need to talk about that because that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when somebody says something to you and it really bothers you, investigate whether it is because you didn't appreciate how they gave that information to you and how they shared their feelings or their thoughts, or if on some level it feels true to you. And I want to say too, just because something feels true to you doesn't mean that it's true. Okay? Because when he told me, like, who do I think I am when I can't even help anybody because I'm a mess myself, that is true and that has always been true. But guess what? Everybody's a mess in some way, okay? I don't want to hear it. We don't talk about perfection here because that doesn't exist. But we are always taught to strive for perfection, and it's performative BS and it doesn't exist. And when we start trying to chase that, that's when we get into a mess, okay? Because really a mess, what's so bad about a mess? When you have a mess, it's actually really good. It's a good information. I mean, it's a good information. It's good information that you see, okay, there's a mess here in front of me. Okay, what does a mess do? In order to clear the mess, you need to slow down and take apart the mess and put things where they belong. So it actually causes you to slow down and be more thoughtful and intentional about what you're going to do, right? So, anyway, we got all the tangents going. Let's see. I already lost my train of thought. I'm laughing at myself. Okay. So on some level, I wasn't even mad at him because he's always spouting things, some true, some not, whatever. We all speak from our own perspective, and I'm not saying that it's not valid. It is, but we need to be more mindful of how we talk to each other. Anyway, and how we talk to ourselves, because I took on that story of I'm a mess. How can I help anybody else? How? So I was operating in that way already, and that's why it bothered me so much. And then since he said it, I was like, oh, I was looking for I was like, oh, it must be true. It must be true. I must be a mess, and how can I help anybody? Right? That's why I say if something feels true, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. Let me tell you why. Me being me experiencing my stuff and being in my own progression and becoming does not mean that I cannot help someone else. And I tell you this, I can yell this from the rooftop because I know that I have helped so many people on the way in my journey when I knew it or when I didn't, okay? And so from here to there 10 years ago, um I have so many receipts, and sometimes I forget myself, but there have been so many people where I have shared my medicine and it was so helpful to them. It was so helpful to them. That's why I think it's important for us to make a list of things just we can go back to remember our power. Because we can get so focused on the chaos outside of us, we can get so focused on our own thoughts that you know, our fear that tries to protect us and tries to keep us safe. And that's why we are so beautiful. And like, thank you, fear. Thank you for trying to protect me. However, fear's motivation is not to like make you grow and become successful in whatever it is that you want to do. No, no, no. Fear, it's only hello words. Objective is to keep you safe, is to keep you comfortable. It's like a little blankie. It's like, here, come. Okay, let's keep you safe. And that's needed because this world be cray. Pero when it comes to building a life that is bigger than what is currently within you, um, fear can like come along because you'll need it. pero it's not the driver. It should not be the driver. You should be leading from courage. You should be leading from courage. Like, yeah, things are scary. Okay, cool. They're always going to be scary, but I'm going to try. And that's where progress comes in. And of course, I looked up the word progress because I said this. The other day, I mentioned about Zoe, and it's like, Zoe, how do you get good at something? And she said, practice, right? I share that story because yo, I tell her this to her every single day because something always comes up. But eventually she's gonna know and she's gonna stop bringing her frustrations to me and she's gonna be like, oh, wait a minute, over and over and over again. Okay, how do I get better at something? Okay, or how do I even just try something? Okay, I gotta practice. And practice does not mean perfection. What does practice mean? Practice makes progress. That is it. That is what I want you to take from today. Practice is Practice makes progress. And of course I looked at progress because I know what it means, but I wanted like the actual words. Progress means to move forward. It means onward movement, okay? It doesn't say how fast you go, it doesn't say how slow you go, it doesn't say anything about the how. It just says movement. And you have to try. You just have to try. Show up. It could be small things, whatever. So as long as you're in the practice in something, you will see some progress. And so for me, the aha moment is, yeah, I may have been a mess and all this stuff, and like, oh, I keep stopping, but I'm always showing up for myself. I still continue on, even with the fear, even with the doubts, even with the story in the back of my mind of like, oh, I'm a mess. How can I help anyone? Like, how? No, I had to investigate that fear. I had to investigate that story and see, like, is that really true? Just because someone else on the outside said it, does it make it true? Just because I feel a tinge of validity in it, does it make it really true? And if something is true, can we change that truth? Can we shift that truth? Yes, we can. That is what makes us so special. We have the ability to change something. So if something is true for you now, it may not be true for you later. Or if something wasn't real for you then, like let's just say believing in love. A lot of us, a lot of people, a lot through the years, let's say if you're a person that you have gone through so much heartbreak and you're like, yo, I don't believe in love. And I know because a lot of you have told me before. And I'm like, no. No matter how many times I've been betrayed, no matter how many times I have hurt people, and that's also a heartbreak. Because it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good to hurt others. It does not feel good to be hurt. Um, but I never want to lose that feeling of hope for love. And I'm not talking about just romantic love. I'm talking about love for humanity, love for the people, love for like, well, that. We talk a lot about love here. Love is not like, oh, love is not a fluffy word, okay? Real love requires a lot of work and for you to show up and for you to put effort in. And it requires an amazing, like, really strong, it calls for you to be aware of yourself, aware of others in order to have really good relationships. Communication is important, blah, 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 all that stuff, right? So, progress. As long as you are on your journey and you're moving and you're doing the things, don't get focused on the destination. Okay, because progress also, and I don't know where the heck I put it. It said like forward movement to a destination, right? And so maybe the destination is becoming more of yourself. Maybe the destination is becoming so fierce in your own truth that you no longer have excuses or no longer aligns with anything that isn't there, that isn't for you. And That's the destination that I'm reaching. I mean, that's the destination that I'm headed towards, okay? We don't need, destination doesn't have to be like an end point for anything. It's a becoming, okay? So when I think about it in this way, and I use my example because think about the word practice, right? I say practice means progress. And I'm like, I had to look up. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Doctors have a practice. Like they're like anyone who's a therapist has a therapy practice, right? Why is it called that? If then you're like, wait, we're practicing on people, but and then we look at it in a negative way, and it's like, no, 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 no. Look, I looked it up and I was like, why is it called a therapy practice? Why is it called a doctor's practice, right? Let me tell you. Wait, let me see where it was exactly that I wanted to look up. Okay, a therapy or doctor's practice is called a practice because it refers to the continuous exercise of a profession or a professional business that provides services. Keywords: continuous exercise. The term comes from the Old French and Latin meanings of to pursue or be engaged in a particular occupation, and implies a systematic, regular, and ongoing application of skills. Okay, ongoing application of skills. That's what practice is. It doesn't say anywhere that, oh, everything is perfect, and when everything is perfect, that's when I start to practice medicine or practice, becoming a therapist, right? A therapist begins, there's always, and I'm using therapy and a medical doctor as examples, but this applies to all of us, whether you have a practice or not. The practice is life. We all have a practice. And, I just had this ding, ding, ding light bulb moment. I'm like, wait, yeah, life is practice. And people are like, oh, we only get one life and we got da, 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 da. Think about it. Life can be long, life can be short, life is precious, but life is practice. Look, okay, they have other stuff here about medical profession, blah, blah, blah. Look, the word also aligns with the idea, thank you, Google. The, the word also aligns with the idea of practice as repeated exercise to maintain proficiency. Hold on, let me see if this thing is still recording. Okay, good, it is. No, because I was like, yo, please don't tell me. The other day that happened to me where it was not recording, and I was like, oh, wow. Okay, anyway, moving on. The word also aligns with the idea of practice as repeated exercise to maintain proficiency, which is a key part of any profession where skills are constantly being honed and updated. Think about it, right? Any medical person, any therapist, anybody in any type of field. It could be sports, it could be anything that anyone does. How do you get better at what you're doing? How? You practice your skills. The more clients you have, the more patients you see, the more um if you're in sports, like the more you practice your skills, the more games you play, you get better, hopefully, ideally, right? And if you don't, then that's a whole other story. Maybe you're not meant to be in that thing. But what I'm saying is that practice leads to progress. And so for me, going back to this, whatever it is that you have on your heart, just because things may seem far-fetched to you now, just because they may seem far away, or you may be trying and you don't feel like you've made any progress in it, I promise you, you need to go and investigate that story that you have within you, because it's going to help you realize that that ish is not real. That story is not real. It doesn't matter if 1,000 people say it. What matters is what you believe about it. If you do believe that, then okay. That's not the end all be all. Investigate it. What about this makes me feel this way? And, pick through the pieces. That's why they say the work is hard, okay? You're not going to get it in one day. The other day, that was this morning. I was like, yo, I've been trying, okay? I've been doing my things, I'm trying. And then I was feeling so tired because I am overworking myself again. And I'm like, oh, heck no. And it's always overworking myself, not for myself, not for my good, not in my business. It's for everything on the outside and forgetting myself on the back burner. And it's like, no, we're not doing that no more. And I share this because while I have made so much progress, it's not that it doesn't happen anymore. It's not that, everything is all la di da perfect. No, but I am able to pick up on it a lot sooner and a lot quicker and not let it fester so long where I'm like, "Ooh, how did I get here?" And if that happens, give yourself grace because life is hard, but life is also beautiful and you have it within you to make progress. You really do. Okay. So if we think of practice, if we think of life as practice, then of course we're going to make progress because we're living every day. But how we live, how we choose to practice is what matters. Okay. And there's something else. Let's see if I remember. Laughing at myself. Oh my goodness. I can't. I know this is the last tidbit of it. Come on. It was something. It was something. I hope you're laughing with me because it's like, girl, you were going off and you were good and you were focused. But this is what happens, right? So instead of getting like being like, Ayla, why don't you get it together? And you didn't remember or you didn't write it down. Give myself grace, show up with myself. And look, I'm still showing up here on my podcast, okay? I had this really call on my heart because I don't know why. I feel like somebody needs it. Maybe it's helpful to you. And if I would have listened to the story of, oh, I'm a mess myself, so how can I help anyone? If I stayed stuck in that story from over 10 years ago, even beyond that, before that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be sharing. This is why I'm always so grateful about the battles that I fought because whether they were internal or external, I'm here sharing. And I know that this story or words, whatever, are medicine that can help someone else. So if you're listening to this, I hope it was helpful. Let me know. I always love to hear from you. And I'm going to end there, but I just want you to remember that practice makes progress. As long as you're trying, as long as you're showing up, that's what matters. And I promise you that the little movements that you take in practice, even if it's one small thing a day, it's going to build. It's going to build. It's like a muscle. Okay. And I know because in the last 10 years, I haven't showed up for myself. I haven't showed up for my purpose. I haven't showed up for my journey the way that I would have liked to. However, now I'm showing up. And when I think about it, I'm like, Kayla, as so many people tell me, you're being too hard on yourself. You have made so much progress through the years. I have always shown up. And so I share this with you because it's easy to forget that. It's easy. But don't give up on yourself. And I love you. Take care and reach out to me. Oh, by the way, okay, one of my beautiful listeners, they gave me this idea of like taking questions from listeners, and she's gonna send me some, and she already asked me something or whatever, and that's like continued conversation. So this is always a dialogue. Yes, this is me talking to you one way, but it's really not because I feel like we always continue the conversation off the podcast. and I really want to hear from you. So if there's a question or if there's something that you want to learn more about, um, reach out to me. Let me know. You can reach me on Instagram at Val to be fierce, or you can reach me through the email in the show notes. Take care. Make it a fierce Thursday.